What up, YouTube? It's your boy Devastation, aka Devin Russell, back at you again with another video. And today I'm going to be doing an album review. And this time I'm reviewing one of my favorite albums of all time by Eminem. And that is the Slim Shady LP, released in 1999, produced by Dr. Dre, and released on Aftermath Interscope. And this is his second LP, actually. A lot of people might say it's his first, but Infinite was actually his first. This is the second one. This is just a classic album. It was one of the top best-selling albums of the year 1999, and also one of the best-selling albums of all time. So I'm going to be going track by track. So let's get started. First track is Public Service Announcement, which is basically Eminem's friend basically telling him how the people who buy this album shouldn't copy it or anything, and how that shouldn't listen to it with laces in their shoes and all that good stuff. And he tells kids to don't do drugs. Well, he tells everybody not to do drugs, which is actually a good message out there for the public. Track 2 is My Name Is, one of the singles on here. My Name is basically him telling everybody who he is and what his personality is and what his name is. And it's a very good song. One of my favorite songs from Eminem. And I'm a huge fan of Eminem, as you can see by this shirt right here. One of my favorite shirts of all time. Anyway, next track is A Guilty Conscience, featuring Dr. Dre, which is basically Eminem is the devil and Dr. Dre is an angel, which is basically this kind of made up story, basically following just people who could do either good things or bad things, and Dr. Dre's telling them to do good things, and Eminem is basically telling them to do awful things. Very good song, very funny. The next track after that, I forgot to mention, Guilty Conscience is another single on this album, if I'm correct. Next up is Brain Damage, basically him explaining about his personal life and how he was bullied throughout middle school, and how he focuses on this bully named D'Angelo Bailey, who picked on him constantly, and D'Angelo Bailey actually sued him for this song. And it's a pretty dark song. It's very good though. It's very lyrical. It is pretty violent. My Name Is and Guilty Conscience are also pretty violent, but they're violent in a comical way. This one is actually pretty violent in a serious way. So yeah, be aware of that. But it is a very good song. One of my favorite tracks of Eminem of all time. And the next up is Paul, which is pretty much a skit of his friend Paul Rosenberg, who basically just calls him up and tells him his opinion on his album and whatnot. It's a short skit, but it's pretty nice. Next up, track 6 is If I Had, which is basically him saying if he had a lot of money, he would basically he explains what he would do if he had a lot of money. It's a very good song, very lyrical, very funny. 97, Bonnie and Clyde, track 7. Very dark field song. Basically a diss to his ex-wife Kim. This track was actually written after his wife cheated on him with another man, so he's expressing his anger in this song, and it's very good. I mean, it's not dirty or anything. There isn't any swearing in it or anything, but it's pretty dark, and yeah, but it's a very good song. Next up is B Word, which is a skit. Basically, it's someone named Zoe Wrinkler. I think that may be her name. I don't really know. But yeah, it's basically a woman saying how that Eminem is nasty and whatever. It's actually pretty funny. Next track is Role Model. Very good song. He's basically talking about basically himself, and saying how that he can be a role model and asking people if they want to be just like him and whatnot. It's a very good song. Lounge is basically just a skit of Eminem and his friends is basically like singing. Next track is My Fault. Very funny song. Basically, it's about spring break, and he's with the girl, and they do drugs, and she overdosed on shrooms, I think. Yeah, shrooms. And like he gave her too much, and she overdosed, and she's dying. And it's actually a pretty funny song. It's very lyrical too. You have to actually sit through the whole song and listen to it. It's hilarious. Next up is Ken Kniff skit, which is pretty funny. There's like this strange guy named Ken Kniff who basically prank phone calls Eminem and asking him like weird, nasty questions. It's a pretty funny skit. Next song is "Come On Everybody," which is basically um, like a song of like Eminem basically making fun of pop music. It's a very funny song, very lyrical, one of my personal favorite songs of all time. Rock Bottom is track 14, another very good song. It's like basically like talking about like what he's like gone through and everything and how that like and how like he's just basically just talking about his like rock bottom in general. I guess. Just Don't Give a F Word. Very good song. That's another single on this album. Very good song. Very dirty, but very funny. It's kind of dark and gritty and pretty violent, but it's a very good song. Um, Soap, which is a skit. It's like basically like a soap opera skit. It's pretty good. As the World Turns. Very funny song. It's like basically like what he talks about is like his personal stories and whatever. It's just a hilarious song. You really have to listen to it. And next one is I'm Shady. Pretty much like he's like saying how like he has like a shady personality and like what he's like gone through and what everything. Basically, he explains like who he is and how he is and whatever. Very nice song. Bad Meets Evil, which is basically about two guys, him and Royce the 5'9", which is one of the guys that actually got him into the business of hip hop, and it's basically like him like saying how like the Eminem's bad and how Royce the 5'9" is evil, and like it basically like tells him like who's who and why they're the way they are or whatever. It's a very nice song, and they later turn Bad Meets Evil into a group because they say in the song, "See you in hell for the sequel," and that's when the Bad Meets Evil had the sequel came in mind years later. And then last track, Still Don't Give a F Word. Another very good song, basically saying how like that he can't. Well, like him like basically saying how that like if people tell him like what's bad, like he doesn't care, like he'll just do it. Same thing with Just Don't Give a F Word, I forgot to mention. And yeah, it's pretty much is a very good album right here. Classic. I can listen to this album the route without skipping a track. I listen to this album all the time. Well, not the official CD because I have this on my iPod. I bought it off of iTunes, but then I wanted a physical copy. So here's the a regular CD cover with Kim in the trunk and Eminem with Haley as the baby. Here's the side. It says Eminem. Here's the side, and here's the back with Eminem himself, the track list. I'll show you the inside. Here's the disc, here's the booklet. But yeah, if you haven't listened to this album, you definitely have to listen to it. It's a classic. You definitely want to pick this up. You can get this pretty cheap. Last time I checked, you can get this for $5 at Target. So yeah, if you find this at your local Target for $5, I highly recommend you pick it up. And this is the explicit version, so you definitely want to get the explicit version. It is the best version, rather than the clean version. Clean versions to me just doesn't really sound good. But if you don't like swearing and if you want to pick up the clean version, then I suggest go for it. But other than that, if you want to hear the whole songs like without any without like any censors, I recommend this one. So yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and stay tuned when I do a horror movie review, which will be up soon, later today. Until next time, guys, peace out.